forward. So those are a couple of earnings to watch out for as far as trade is concerned today. But you've also already got a couple of them that have come up with earnings late last night. Biocon came up with their quarterly performance. And to discuss that in detail, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, CMD at Biocon, is joining in. Ma'am, thank you for joining us and taking the time out to talk to us. Let's start off by really getting some of the key takeaways of the quarterly performance. How did that pan out?
Well, I think we are ahead of all market estimates. I think we've delivered a very strong set of numbers this quarter. At a PAT level, you know, we have delivered 102 crores of PAT at a 14% margin. Hello?
Sure, go ahead. We can hear you, ma'am.
We have also seen very strong growth even at a half-yearly level. All our businesses have performed very well. We have a 21%. Okay. We have delivered on all our businesses. We've seen a 21% year-on-year growth of our biopharmaceuticals business, a very strong performance by our research services business, which at the half year is 36% and at the quarter 2 level is 46%. No doubt, 10% of that can be attributed in quarter 2 to the weak rupee. But having said that, it is still a very robust performance from our research services business. We are also seeing very good traction in the emerging markets, especially in Latin America, and where our insulins and immunosuppressants business is also gaining a lot of traction. We have seen very good performance in terms of our overall immunosuppressants business across our regulated markets, where both sirolimus and tacrolimus are making good progress in the US and European markets. So overall, I think we are doing extremely well on all fronts. Our margins have been sustained at a very healthy 25%. R&D continues to remain at 9% of our revenues, biopharma revenues. So overall, I think Biocon is on a very good, strong wicket. We expect to end the year on a very confident note. All our research programs are making very good progress. As we disclosed in our earnings call this morning, our AZUMAB is gaining a lot of market acceptance in India, and we're also progressing our discussions on partnering this molecule very well. In terms of our partner program with Mylan, our first biosimilar antibody, which is trastuzumab, is also progressing well in terms of its global development. And in terms of its India development, we have very successfully concluded our phase 3 clinical trials, and we have submitted this data to the Indian regulators, and we hope that we will get approval in the near future. So I think we are poised in a very strong way. I think we are focusing on our cost-cutting measures. We are actually focusing on capacity optimization, productivity optimization, and product rationalization, so that we can get a better product mix to drive both growth and margins.
Here, let me also bring in Agam Vakil, who tracks the pharma space pretty closely for us at Bloomberg TV India. Agam, over to you.
Ma'am, your press release actually mentions that there will be some amount of capacity addition when it comes to insulin, as well as capex plans. Can you tell us a little more about that, especially regarding the plant in Malaysia, and also a word on your pipeline when it comes to biosimilars with Mylan?
Sure. So when it comes to our Malaysia facility, it's absolutely on track. But as I've shared with you in the past, the plant, both the drug product and drug substance plant, will only be fully operational in 2015. Up until then, we are very reliant on the India capacity and the India facility. But even there, we are trying to, maximize capacity expansion as much as possible both through productivity and balancing equipment that can actually give us a little more product capacity. Having said that, you can see that our insulins business is gaining a lot of traction in emerging markets, and we are really hoping that with the Malaysia plant coming on stream in 2015, insulin should be able to then catch up with its demand. Right now there is a gap. We are not able to cope with demand as much as we would like to, but having said that, that's a good problem to have, and we are trying to address it in the best possible way. When it comes to other capex, I think we are looking at capex injection in our research services business, because that also is looking to expand its base given the very interesting and attractive opportunities that are coming its way. Syngene today has an opportunity of transitioning from supply of clinical materials as a CMO to supply of commercial materials as a CMO, and this itself will be a big jump for Syngene, and we're looking at that kind of capital support, capital injection for Syngene over the next 5 years. Syngene alone will require about $100 million over the next 5 years, but I think this is a capital injection that Syngene can very well support. Biocon itself has a very strong net cash position of over 700 crores. And therefore, and knowing that the Malaysia facility funding is already in place, we feel that we are well provided in terms of all our capex needs. So that's what I'd like to say in terms of our capex proposals, our investment needs, and our business growth opportunities.
Ma'am, the last time we spoke, there was some hold up when it comes to approvals regarding oral insulin. Can you give us a few more updates as to what's really happening, and any updates whatsoever when it comes to that particular drug?
Well, as you know, there is a clinical hold in India because of the regulatory environment. So we have mitigated that particular risk by, making sure that we can do this clinical development overseas. And that's the plan going forward. We are not waiting any longer for the India approval, which has held up some approvals for what we had intended to do in India, but I think we are making now plans to take this overseas. Having said that, we are still on track. So in terms of timelines, we are still on track to develop this asset along with BMS. But it is unfortunate that we could have done it probably a little earlier, but having said that, we just cannot do anything with the kind of regulatory environment that exists in India today in terms of clinical development.
Well, ma'am, I'd also like to know as to what kind of traction you're getting when it comes to AZUMAB, what kind of marketing is going on, and also when can we expect the launch of, AZUMAB, actually?
Well, AZUMAB has actually been launched on the 10th of August, and I'm very pleased to say that the market acceptance has been much more encouraging and much stronger than what we had anticipated. So I'm very confident that AZUMAB is going to be a great product in India. I think what really sets it apart from other biologics is its safety profile and its remission profile, which is indeed very, very unique. And as far as trastuzumab is concerned, as I mentioned, we have successfully completed a phase 3 clinical trial, and we believe that we should get regulatory approval before too long.
Ma'am, you mentioned one of the overhangs on the pharma sector, which of course is the regulatory environment for clinical trials. There are two other things. One is the ongoing standoff between several pharma manufacturers and the trade in terms of margins being given to them. And the other is on the overall, regulatory overhang of US FDA as well as Europe regulators when it comes to the manufacturing facilities in India. Just wanted to get your thoughts on both of these impacting the Indian pharma industry.
Well, So when it comes to our internal issues, where you very rightly said there's been a standoff between trade channels and industry, I think a lot of that is getting resolved. And of course that has impacted all pharma companies, including Biocon, in the last 2 quarters. But we believe that the next half should be better for all Indian companies. Now that most of those issues are being resolved. I think this actually, it's a lesson for all of us to learn. I think the government should ensure that all stakeholders are consulted before rolling out any kind of policies. And I think this is something that we must bear in mind going forward, not to cause these kind of disruptions. In terms of US FDA and EMEA audits, I certainly believe that Indian companies are taking note of various GMP compliance issues that have cropped up in the recent past, and I think most companies are now paying a lot of attention to quality systems when it comes to GMP inspections, and I think it's a wake-up call that is going to make Indian industry even stronger.
Point taken. Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, always a pleasure to have you on the show and talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll take a quick break on this at this point and come right back. We'll talk to NMDC management